welcome to our first Speeding Bulletin for 2014, covering events from December 20th, 2013 to January 2nd, 2014. Some of the events during this period included Gal Gadot's first interview about Wonder Woman, the LA premiere of Justice League War was announced, and the third installment of a fan-made Superman vs. Hulk animated battle was released online. Let's jump in and take a look at these stories and more. In movie news, there were a lot of rumours circulating around at the end of 2013 about the upcoming Superman-Batman movie, with The Rock and Denzel Washington's names popping up for possible roles, while Dwayne Johnson does appear to be in a deal with Warner Brothers for some kind of DC comic movie. There's no indication it's for the Superman-Batman movie itself, while the Denzel Washington rumour seems to be a whole lot of hot air. Moving on, costume designer Michael Wilkinson spoke with Cinemovie.tv about designing the Batman and Wonder Woman costumes for the upcoming movie and possible tweaks to the Superman costume. He said, "We are now in the stage where we're refining our designs with the last series of camera tests and doing our final tweaks in preparation for shooting." Speaking on Israel's Good Evening with Guy Pine's TV show, actress Gal Gadot spoke for the first time about being cast as Wonder Woman, how she found out she'd won the part, and what she thinks of the online reaction to her body shape for the role. She said, "It's the physical preparations that I'm starting now, a very serious training regimen, kung fu, kickboxing, swords, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian, 1001 things. I'll gain body mass." A report at theinquisitor.com claims that the budget for the upcoming Superman-Batman movie is $131 million. Michelle Grinnell, Public Relations Manager for the Michigan Film Office, says this is the largest production to be filmed in Michigan to date. By the way, if you live in the area and have some film experience, you should keep an eye on the Michigan Film Office website for any possible behind-the-scenes jobs or on-camera opportunities to work on the movie. Warner Brothers Home Entertainment and the Payless Center for Media announced the West Coast premiere of Justice League War in Los Angeles on January 30th. Justice League War will screen at 7 p.m, and following the screening, filmmakers and voice cast members will hold a panel discussion. In an interview with ComingSoon.net, director Peter Segal reveals that the popularity and success of Man of Steel has resulted in the indefinite postponement of his Billy Batson and the Legend of Shazam movie. He said, "I think it's difficult for DC to figure out how to launch this character in the wake of Superman's resurgence." Well, we start the new year once again with no TV news, so we jump straight into comic book news, where in a recent DC Comics All Access video, editor Eddie Berganza talked about the Superman family of comic books and what we can look forward to in 2014.
We have some stuff going on with Lois Lane. We're doing a one-shot with Lois, written by Marguerite Bennett, one of our newest writers.
That is awesome.
There's a lot of huge things just kind of centering and headed toward Metropolis that I think are going to be pretty cool.
TVGuide.com reported that the ongoing Smallville comic book series is about to get a touch of magic when Zatanna and John Constantine feature in a new storyline titled Harbinger. Chapter 1 will be released this week, with the new story running parallel to the comic's main narrative. You can check out a 6-page preview of the first chapter of Harbinger at tvguide.com. Some of the latest comic books we reviewed recently included Supergirl number 26, which was reviewed by James Lance, who called it a fast-paced and fun story, and he gave it a 5 out of 5. Michael J. Petty reviewed Justice League number 26, giving it a 4 out of 5, saying, "The story was fantastic and I thoroughly enjoyed it." Forever Evil number 4 was reviewed by Michael Bailey, who gave it a 4 out of 5 score, saying, "There was a lot to like about this chapter." Alyssa Gossage reviewed Adventures of Superman chapter 35, giving it a 4 out of 5, saying, "Can't wait to see the third installment." And Smallville Alien chapter 6 was reviewed by Matt Shaw, who said this is another great issue in a really stellar series, and he gave it a 4 out of 5. Superman comics available this week as of December 31st include Adventures of Superman chapter 36 digital comics, been available since December 30th. Adventures of Superman number 8 print edition. Injustice Gods Among Us number 12 print edition. Superman number 26, which is available in a variant cover. Superman Unchained number 5. which is available in a black and white cover, a digital combo pack, a 1930s variant, a Golden Age variant, a Silver Age variant, a Bronze Age variant, a Modern Age variant, a Superman vs. Doomsday variant, a Superman Reborn variant, and a New 52 variant cover. Teen Titans number 26, which is also available in a variant cover. Smallville Harbinger number 1 digital comic will be available January 3rd. Superboy Volume 3 Lost trade paperback. And Superman the Man of Steel Volume 8 trade paperback. 2014 is here and it's time to grab yourself a Superman calendar for the new year. Buy the 19-month Man of Steel wall calendar for $12.59. Or how about a Henry Cavill 2014 calendar with bonus fridge magnet, yours for $24.99. These and other great calendars are available from your one-stop Superman shop, the Superman homepage online store at supermanhomepage.com/shop. In other news, Jerry Fine, the man who introduced his cousin Jerry Siegel to artist Joe Shuster, passed away in late December, aged 97. Sometime in the early 1930s, Jerome Fine heard that his friend Joe Shuster was transferring to Glenville High School and told Shuster to look up his cousin Jerry Siegel when he got there. As you all know, Jerry and Joe would go on to collaborate on a number of different comic book characters, including Superman. Animator Michael Habjan has posted part 3 of his Superman vs. Hulk fan-created animated fight sequence. Over the past couple of years, each new episode's animation and graphics has improved, with the latest installment the best yet. The Superman homepage Super Trivia Quiz has been updated for another month. The 3 questions we're asking you this time around are: in what year did the first Super Friends cartoon air on TV in the USA? What was the title of the very last episode of Superman the Animated Series? And the theatrical poster for Superman and the Mole Men describes Superman as the all-time what of action? If you think you know the answer to all 3 questions, come by the site now to submit your entry. Episode 108 of Radio KAL, the monthly podcast of the Superman homepage, is now available to listen to. In this latest episode, Scotty and I discuss 9 years of Radio KAL, Gal Gadot cast as Wonder Woman, Jason Momoa and Joaquin Phoenix casting rumours, Chris Terrio on board for the movie, Henry Cavill's Superman flyby screen test, progress on the Kent Farm reconstruction, Peter O'Toole's death, Superman Returns limited edition 2-CD soundtrack, possible live-action Young Justice TV series in 2015, all the latest comic books and much more. Check it out now at supermanhomepage.com/radio. And don't forget, you can still enter our Superman Returns limited edition 2-CD soundtrack giveaway. Thanks to La La Land Records, the Superman homepage is pleased to be able to give away 3 copies of the limited edition 2-CD soundtrack for Superman Returns. Head to the website now to submit your entry. And that's all the news there was for the period spanning December 20th to January 2nd. I'm Steve Younis. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And once again, Happy New Year. This is our 20th year of the Superman homepage. Check it out, everything at supermanhomepage.com.
Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a 2014 edition of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V, and Happy New Year! So, the Superman homepage is celebrating 20 years online in 2014. Let's see, 20 years ago, I was like 2. Yeah, I see you glaring at me. 20 years ago, I was 18, and I had not discovered the Superman homepage at that point. I don't think I had discovered internet at that point. Let's see, 20 years ago, if we go by, I could use my fingers, so we're in 2014 now, so it'll be 10 years. That should be easy. 10 years is 2004, that'd be 10 years, and then the 10 years, that'd be 1994. Yeah, 1994. Technically, I graduated high school in 92 when I was 17, so I must have been 19 in 1994. But not till the end of 94, because I won't be 39 until the end of 2014. What do we have to look forward to as Superman fans in 2014? Nothing. I mean, sure there will be announcements about the Superman / Batman / Wonder Woman / Green Lantern / possible villains Lex Luthor. There will be announcements. There will be rumors. There continue to be announcements that are rumors right now. Nothing has come out of Zack Snyder's camp or the WB camp since the Wonder Woman announcement, but there are rumors now that Denzel Washington might be playing a role in the Superman / Batman movie, and that it possibly might be Green Lantern, which of course would be Jon Stewart, unless they're going to create a brand new Green Lantern. Many people thought that Jon Stewart should have been the Green Lantern in the Green Lantern movie when they used Hal Jordan. I personally wanted it to be Hal Jordan because Hal Jordan was the first, and I thought that we should start an origin story about the Green Lantern with the first Green Lantern. I don't exactly know. I'm not a Green Lantern fan. I like Green Lantern, but I don't follow the books enough to know how it works. I'm sure some of you out there do. My understanding was that there was one Green Lantern from the Guardians sent to be the galactic police force of one space sector. I would assume Earth would be a space sector. So why, at any given time, would there be Jon Stewart, Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner, and sometimes Guy Gardner, depending on what was going on, up to between 3 and 4 Green Lanterns on Earth? Is Earth more than one sector? I would think that the entire solar system would be our sector, which would mean that one Green Lantern, from my understanding, would patrol it, or maybe they just go rogue and decide they're going to do what they want. Jon Stewart decided he liked Earth and he was going to stay here, and that was it. I don't know. Denzel Washington as Jon Stewart. I assume it would be Jon Stewart and not a made-up Green Lantern. But this, a rumor. Generally, rumors get started by sites all over the place just because they want to, get hits to their site or make people talk or make people go crazy. For instance, my brother said, "Yeah, I just don't know about this Zack Snyder." He's not a huge fan of the Man of Steel in the first place, but he loved the Nolan franchise of Batman films. He wants to go back and watch Man of Steel, but he was really disappointed. He said that he really wanted to enjoy it and just didn't, and thought it was lacking. And now he's talking about Zack Snyder in terms of casting too many stars, too many heroes, changing up the movie too much, and just going for it all right now instead of going the route of Marvel and actually trying to earn the Avengers film, which they eventually did after several years of single films and films about heroes on their own that had some cameos by other heroes, and then it all came together. And I've said this before. My preference would be seeing these heroes emerge and then getting to that. And it does seem like, especially if there's going to be a possible Green Lantern inclusion in the Superman / Batman movie, that they're kind of going all out already. And but we don't know. We haven't seen a script. We haven't heard anybody talk about it. It's possible that these people are just going to show up. What I would like is just to see Jon Stewart, to meet him, see who he is, and kind of have that wink to people who know who Jon Stewart is, that he will be Green Lantern at some point. We don't really need a suit design. We don't need to see him, put his suit on. We don't need to hear him say the pledge. It's not a movie about him, and it's not supposed to be a Justice League movie. I'm okay with the coming together of some of the people who will eventually be in the Justice League. The other weird thing about having Denzel Washington is that it seems like another guy who's way older than Superman who's going to come in and either chastise him for all the damage or tell him he needs to be better or try and show him what it means to be a hero. I don't know what they're going for, and I know that the Batman people and the Batman fans, who are most of DC, who think that the other heroes are secondary because Batman's the best, might very well go for something like Batman being the guy everybody in the world looks up to for learning how to be a hero, in which case he could be, well, I'm Batman, and you're just some alien, and you should listen to everything I say, and of course Superman looking up to him with puppy eyes and hoping that he could just one day, someday, be the hero that Batman has always been and that Batman hopes him to be, even though Batman is disappointed in the way Superman handled the whole Kryptonian invasion and how there were things that Batman would have done differently, and how that from this point forward Batman will be the role model that Superman will learn from and look up to. And we have the same kind of situation if in fact there is some truth to the Denzel Washington as Green Lantern rumor, because now we have another older guy who has clearly been doing his thing for much longer than Clark has been doing as Superman. And we already know that the story with Ben Affleck as Batman is that he is a hardened, wise, battle-worn Batman who is now going to somehow come across Superman. So we already know Batman and Superman are not contemporaries, and if we have a Denzel Washington as Green Lantern, then we know that Green Lantern and Superman are also not contemporaries, but perhaps Batman and Green Lantern were once contemporaries who knew each other or fought alongside each other. The other rumor with Denzel Washington is that possibly he'll be Lex Luthor. Now, a lot of times rumors get started because there was a meeting, or Denzel Washington, for instance, got called into the WB studios, or met with Snyder, or took a phone call, or had an email, and somehow somebody hears about it, and so they start to speculate on what it could mean. Denzel Washington could be playing a military advisor. Denzel Washington could be playing the president. Denzel Washington could be playing anybody in the movie, or not. He could have met with executives from the film. He could have met with Zack Snyder. I haven't read anything official that he has, but that could be how the rumor got started, in which case he could have been going in for a Green Lantern-related role, or for a Lex Luthor-related role, or for any role in the franchise, or for a future role that Zack Snyder is going to be involved and is somehow planning for the future. We just don't know. If we had him as Lex Luthor, I suppose the age difference wouldn't matter as much as if he were playing another superhero who's supposed to be a contemporary. We already have people who are a bit annoyed that Batman's going to be older and that they're not going to be in the Justice League together, fighting side by side, although that might not be written yet either. Batman could be a little older and still be a strategist for the Justice League, could still be coordinating teams, which is what I always thought he should be doing when it's a Justice League required mission. Batman's a guy who should be detectiving things out in Gotham and ferreting out mobsters and beating up robbers, and then stopping those sorts of things. But when it comes to galactic invasion, I'm sure they could come up with a way that somehow Batman would be useful against the Kryptonian invading force in Man of Steel. I just don't really see what it would be. They did it in Justice League and usually made him outshine everybody else, and it didn't make a lot of sense. The other thing that I could see happening, and actually I wouldn't mind as much, it would kind of make them all look like jerks, but if Batman was so suspicious of Superman and so suspicious of the Kryptonian alien force, and somehow Lex Luthor was feeding into his ear how important it was to control this menace and this possible menace, this danger, this Superman, and as Bruce Wayne, he's working with Lex Luthor maybe to rebuild the city, and he calls together some of these other heroes, Wonder Woman, possibly Green Lantern, himself, to do the planning, and together they attempt to maybe subdue Superman. That would fall more in line with the way Zack Snyder felt about Superman, and the idea that there'd be no way that Batman and Superman could actually throw down together. At Comic-Con back in 2012, he said, come on, I mean, I love Batman, but that's just a silly question. This is Superman we're talking about. And they can do anything they want in stories. They can write anything they'd like. But if you're trying to put together a world that makes sense, the guy in a batsuit being able to fight Superman just doesn't. So I could see and maybe even enjoy Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Batman coming together to see if they have what it takes to put this alien threat down, and in their minds going, and if we can't, then we really have to come up with something where we do. Now the issue there would be that they know going in, assuming people know how the fight with Zod ended, that this is a being who is willing to kill if necessary. They don't know that the pain and the emotional conflict that it brought up within Clark to do it, and they don't know I guess, how necessary it was. They don't know what it came down to, although you can see the destruction, and you can see that if he let Zod keep going, things would be really bad, and yet we still have millions of fans who hate the movie simply because of that alone, even though to me it was pretty clear that it had to be done, and I understand the whole aversion to Superman killing, and I also like the idea of him deciding after that if there's any way possible he's never going to do it again, even though I think that it was pretty clear in this film that that's not what he wanted to do, and that wouldn't have been the way he would have gone. But I you know, talking about adding another hero to the mix, I could possibly see the Batman versus Superman thing coming from a different standpoint, and that is that he's going to be the planner, and that he's going to be the one who gets these other heroes together who do have the power to actually put Superman a little bit to the task. I don't think they could win, but I think you might get an interesting battle, an interesting story, a couple of interesting exchanges between them, and you could have a full movie where maybe he knocks them down and leaves because he doesn't want to fight them, and it's clear that they're not enemies of the world and they're not killing anybody, and he's trying to figure out how he can get out of this without hurting anyone, that kind of thing. That could be very interesting, and it could be a way to go with the versus angle, and it would make a little more sense having those two helping Batman to that end. I would rather them not be in it that much. Same with Batman. I would rather them all kind of be cameos, people he meets, people he talks to, and kind of gets the idea to maybe work together toward whatever common foe there's going to be. I assume there's going to be a villain, but the more heroes you add and the more you rumorate, that's not a word, but I don't care, about Batman versus Superman, the less time you have, and if you're going to be designing uniforms and doing origin stories for all these other characters, the less time you have for a global threat or a villain outside of that. But I guess we have to see how it goes, and that's really what we have to look forward to in 2014. We're going to get a lot more real information, non-rumor stuff, as we move forward. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember, always look up in the sky.